Hello students, today we are going to study communication skills part 2 of class 10 AI syllabus. Now it's a very important topic which comes under employability skills. Now what is basically communication? So let's understand what is communication. So the communication is essentially a process of exchanging information, ideas, feelings between individuals or groups. Okay. So if you want to exchange your ideas or information, you need to. So this concept is overall concept we call as communication. Now, what are the types of elements or what are the key elements in communication? So the key elements is the first is obviously is the sender. Need to send initiates the message. Communication is between two people, okay, or a group of people. So basically, so the first one is the sender who needs to initiate or to send the message. Then the message itself. What is the idea? What is the information to be communicated? Then you need to convert the message into a form, whether it is a text, written form, or some kind of a visuals, even sometime to represent that idea or message. Now, you need some kind of channel way by which you can send this message. It can be some email, it can be a written text, or it can be through some kind of audio or video. You can, so this way of sending the message is channel. Now, what are other elements which are there? Receiver. Yeah. So receiver is the person who is going to receive this message. Once he receives the message, he needs to decode the message. He needs to understand the message. Okay, so understanding, so decoding is basically if it is a sources come from email. So you need to open the email, you need to understand the concept, understand the message which is there. Then finally, in some cases, feedback is required. Okay, so so feedback is basically will tell whether the message was understood correctly, or even it sometimes tell whether the message been sent correctly or not. Okay, so in the mails you get a message that your mail has been sent, so you know that this thing is there. Okay, so in there are different forms of feedback is there. Now, before we move further in discussion of this topic, I have got a course for you, which is the CBSE Class 10 AI Board Exam Full Revision course is there. Now, this revision course is covering all the topics which are there in your Class 10 AI, and the link is there. And I have also put the link in the description. So from there also you can go. So basically, it is covering all types of MCQs, chapters, questions. So if you want everything together at one place, so it is the best way, and it's quite cheap also. Let me show you this particular course so that you can know what is there in this particular course. Okay. So the course material which is there. So you will see this is the link where I have opened it here. Now, if you see, if I open it, so it will take you to the course. So if I directly go to this course, so this is the course which is there, and it is like Smart Code Tutors. And if you go to the course, so there all the materials which are there, which is available. So, for example, like for with this communication only, I'm taking you. So there is a communication video, communication quiz. So let's see this communication quiz is. So once you understand the communication topic, and if you want to do this quiz, like what is the primary purpose of communication? So to inform, to influence, to express feelings. So I think you can consider also this is something which is there, and you can save and next, and when finally everything is done. So this is there. So all the course material, okay. So you have question papers, okay. Then you have sample papers. Then you have question bank for revision for more questions. All right. So it is all there, and I think it's a good idea to go through this entire material which is there, which covers the entire syllabus, and I have found it very useful. Okay, so let's go back to the communication topic which we were discussing. So I think for more information, you can just click on the link, which is I think the best idea. Now now what are the types of communication? So we have a verbal communication, communication using the words or written words. Okay. So when you are having the conversation, okay, so when some kind of spoken or written words, so like your emails are there, your presentations are there, so they are all verbal communication. And there is non-verbal communication is also there, which is where we are not using the words, but we are using some kind of body language, facial expressions, gesture, eye contact, etc. Right? And then the one which is the visual communication. Here we are basically using some kind of images, symbols, charts, graphs, or videos. Okay, so this is the types of communication. Now let's move to there is another type of communication which is a formal communication. So formal communication is a structured communication. So when we are in an official setting, like meetings are there, reports are there, we need to follow this way. Informal communication. So informal communication, like we need to inform to a group of people who are colleagues or sometime in friend circle, we need to give some message. So this kind of like in the social media when we are telling information spreading. So this is informal communication. Now let's discuss about first verbal communication. Now this verbal communication is what it means by the verbal communication. So let me ask my uh, AI assistant to read it for you.
Verbal communication. Verbal communication is the exchange of information using spoken or written words. It is one of the most common forms of communication used in daily life, education, and professional settings.
So it is the exchange of words or when we are using with speech to, and it's a very common, like at this moment I'm using a verbal communication. Okay. Now, what are the types of verbal communication? So under the types of verbal communication, so the first one is the oral communication, and the next one is obviously the written communication. Now, what is this to oral communication and written communication means? So, for uh, so first listen to this definitions.
Oral communication through spoken words, such as face-to-face conversations, phone calls, speeches, and presentations. Written communication through written words, including emails, letters, reports, notes, and text messages.
So, oral is basically spoken words as understood, and written communication means through written words, emails, reports, notes, etc. Now, in oral communication, we have already, I think it's the same thing. So, phone calls, speeches, and written communication. Now, next thing is what are the advantages of oral communications? So, you can see the three advantages: clarity and quick understanding, immediate feedback, and personal touch. So let's listen at what we mean by clarity and quick understanding, personal touch, and time saving. Okay. So these are our personal touch. Okay. We mean by this three.
Clarity and quick understanding. Spoken words help convey ideas clearly and can be explained instantly. Immediate feedback allows for instant responses and clarification of doubts. Personal touch helps build relationships through tone, emotion, and expression.
So you can see clarity means when a verbal is the spoken words are this, obviously it's very clearly we can understand the thing, and immediately we have any kind of we can understand the response and clarification of doubt, and obviously it is a personal touch is there. Next, three things which are time saving, flexibility, and effective for group communication. So what do we mean by all these three? What how these three are the comes under the advantages.
Time saving, faster than written communication, especially in urgent situations. Flexibility, can be adapted in real time based on the listener's reaction. Effective for group communication, useful in meetings, discussions, and presentations.
Okay. So time saving means it saves time, obviously. Immediately you are calling someone. So, and it's a very important thing. Like if you have an urgent message, so it's not a good idea to send a mail, but to directly call that person. In real life, we do this, and flexibility. Okay. So sometimes we, depending on the user reaction, listener's reaction, we know that the person is not understanding, so we can adapt, we can modify our speech or whatever text is there, and effective obviously in a group meeting and presentation it's quite effective. uh, so we have already discussed this thing. So what are the disadvantages? So these are the disadvantages of uh, verbal communication. So everything has some disadvantages, so verbal communication has also some disadvantages. So first three disadvantages are:
Lack of proof, spoken words are not recorded unless documented, leading to misunderstandings. Misinterpretation, tone, accent, or speed can cause confusion. Not suitable for long messages, lengthy information is difficult to remember and requires written support.
So if a spoken words are there, so if we are not recording it, obviously it's sometime uh, there's no proof of something. If people deny that it's said, so there's no way to prove that this thing is there. Now misinterpretation is there, or sometimes the way we speak, the speed of what they're saying, maybe the other person is not understanding, and obviously it is not very good idea when you have a very long message and saying. So obviously it requires some kind of a written support so that people can understand it properly. What are the next few? Uh, okay, let's. Okay, now these three are the three more disadvantages are there. So first, listen to these three disadvantages.
Noise interference. Background noise can disrupt communication. Emotional influence. Emotions can affect how messages are conveyed and received. Language barriers. Differences in language or dialects can hinder understanding.
Okay, noise interference. So if a noise is there, obviously noise is a very big factor in such type of communication. Emotions. Sometimes we messages are conveyed with emotions, so sometimes they may not give the correct idea. And sometimes language barriers, so it's a real physical reality. If some persons are not understanding that language properly, so it might be not very clear to the. So this is a verbal communication disadvantage. Now, what is non-verbal communication? So, what do we mean by non-verbal communication? So, let's listen to this first.
Nonverbal communication is the exchange of information without using words. It involves body language, facial expressions, gestures, eye contact, posture, tone of voice, and other visual cues to convey messages.
So, in non-verbal communication, we are not using any words. Okay. So it's or basically we are using our body language. Okay, I think one of the good thing which I think the dancing is one of the way where in like in India in different dance forms we are doing some kind of a storytelling through it's a non-verbal. Okay, so through eye contact posture, so it's gets me the idea of something like this. Okay, so this is one of the way non-communication is where we are using body language, expressions, eye contact, etc. All are for this. Now, next is that what are the types of verbal communications? Now, I can see three are there. So let's understand what are these three uh, types of verbal communication, non-verbal communication.
Facial expressions convey emotions like happiness, sadness, anger, or surprise. Gestures, movements of hands or body to express ideas, example waving, pointing, thumbs up. Body language, posture, the way a person stands or sits can indicate confidence, nervousness, or attitude.
Okay, facial expression convey emotions. Obviously, it tells happiness, sadness, gestures. pointing. Okay, so this is lots we use in daily life, and the body language, how the way you stand, sit, all this also conveys certain type of information to the other person. Next are eye contact, tone of voice, and use of space. So, what do we mean by all this? These three. Let's listen to this.
Eye contact shows attentiveness, confidence, or interest in a conversation. Tone of voice, the pitch, speed, and volume of speech can express emotions or emphasis. Use of space, the physical distance between people conveys levels of intimacy, formality, or authority.
Okay, so eye contact, obviously, it's very important. Tone of voice, it also is telling you the pitch, speed, volume of speech can express emotions. And use of space, okay, so it tells the distance is sometimes tells like what kind of people those who are conveying you want to send message, what is the level of intimacy, formality, or like the level of hierarchy you are having. So what are the next three which are there? So next three is touch, appearance, and paralinguistics. So let's listen to this one first.
Touch includes handshakes, hugs, or pats on the back to express feelings. Appearance, clothing, grooming, and accessories can communicate personality, status, or culture. Paralinguistics, nonverbal elements in speech like pauses, size, or intonation that impact meaning.
Okay, so touch, okay, so handshakes, etc. Appearance itself also a way to communicate, okay. And paralinguistic, so there are non-verbal elements like when the way you give some pauses, so that also sometimes gives kind of a meaning impact to the meaning of the your communication. Now, what are the advantages of non-verbal uh, communication? So, the advantages include the first is the enhances the verbal communication, non-verbal communication. How it like it's enhances helps in the in verbal communication, expresses emotions effectively, and it is fast and instant. Okay, so these are the three. So let's listen first.
Enhances verbal communication, supports spoken words by adding emotions and clarity. Expresses emotions effectively, facial expressions and gestures convey feelings better than words. Fast and instant, communicates messages quickly, even without speaking.
So sometimes it's very even. See, so like in cricket matches, people are clapping. Okay, sometimes. So this even in a normal in any gathering, if the people clap, so people will immediately it even without telling anything, people can understand whether they are liking the particular thing or not, right? So express his emotions very effectively. Okay, this is the thing. So now what are the disadvantages? So in case of disadvantages, we have three disadvantages which are is there, which is the lack of clarity. Okay, so gestures sometimes you if it's not very clear from the gestures, sometimes it may not be clear. Okay, so and obviously there this kind of message has no way to record it. Okay, so it cannot be. This is a non-verbal message cannot be documented, and maybe the same kind of gesture may have a different meaning in different cultures. So this is these are the disadvantages. Okay. Now, what are the other? So the uh, other three are limited scope, can be unintentional and difficult. So what do we mean by these three?
Limited scope, cannot fully express complex or detailed information. Can be unintentional, Body language and facial expressions may send unintended messages. Difficult to control, involuntary movements or facial expressions may reveal emotions unintentionally.
Cannot fully express complex detail. It is can be body language may send sometimes unintended and difficult to control. Okay, so it's not very easy to always control these expressions. Now we are coming to the next topic, which is visual communication. So, what do we mean by visual communication? So, visual communication uh, is basically using images and some visual elements for conveying our ideas. So, listen first.
Visual communication is the process of conveying information, ideas, or messages using visual elements or visual aids instead of using words. Visual communication is effective in simplifying complex information, attracting attention, and making learning more engaging.
Okay, one of the very, if you remember, like people, there are comics were there. Okay, when you were kids. Okay, nowadays it's less. Even cartoons are there. So they are basically they are using those more than the words, which are the visual elements are there. They are conveying the meaning. Okay, so basically you are conveying the message or idea using the visual elements or aids. So now, what are those visual aids? Okay, so you have images, illustration, charts and graphs, diagrams, videos and animation, symbols and signs. So these are the various visual elements. Okay, so let's uh, listen to this part first.
Images and illustrations, photographs, drawings, and icons. Charts and graphs used to present data visually. Diagrams, flowcharts, maps, and infographics. Videos and animations used in presentations, advertisements, and education. Symbols and signs, road signs, logos, and emojis.
Okay, so these are the visual elements. Okay, so images are there, charts, diagrams, videos, animation, symbols. So these are where if they ask you about the visual elements which are there in visual communication, so these are. Now, what are the types of visual communication? So let's so those visual aids. Now we are going to understand what are these uh, three which we have just now considered as visual aids. Okay, so we have the images and illustration, charts and graphs, and diagrams and infographics. Listen to this first.
Images and illustrations, photographs, drawings, and artwork used to convey messages. Charts and graphs, visual representation of data, such as bar charts, pie charts, and line graphs. Diagrams and infographics, used to simplify complex concepts, example flowcharts, mind maps.
Okay, so images, you know, charts and graphs, and obviously diagrams, flow charts especially, when they are giving you ideas. Okay, so next, uh, the next three are videos and animations, symbols and signs, and gestures and body language. Okay, so let's understand what they are.
Videos and animations, engaging way to present information through motion graphics and storytelling. Symbols and signs, universal signs like traffic signals, emojis, and brand logos for quick understanding. Gestures and body language, nonverbal visual cues that support communication.
Okay, so videos animation, symbols and signs. You obviously different symbols are there. Obviously, they tell you what to do, logos, etc., and gestures and body language. So that also can help in communication. So now, what are the advantages of visual communication? Easy to understand, increases retention, and quick communication, and engaging and attractive. Okay, so let's listen to this quote, what they are being. Okay.
Easy to understand, visuals simplify complex information, making it easier to grasp. Increases retention, people remember images and diagrams better than text. Quick communication, information can be conveyed instantly through visuals. Engaging and attractive, graphics, videos, and infographics capture attention effectively.
Okay, now what are the few more advantages are there? Crosses language barriers, enhances learning, better data representation. Okay, so these are the three more are there. So let's listen what these three means.
Crosses language barriers, symbols, signs, and images can be understood globally. Enhances learning, helps in education by making concepts more interactive and clear. Better data representation, charts and graphs present numerical data effectively.
Okay, so there are in different places symbols are there which are common symbols all over the place. So people know like these are on electronics there are symbols are there. So these symbols are everywhere. So and you do not need to understand because if you are having a different language, so you can still understand because these are globally same. Obviously, in education learning, it's very helpful and better data representation. Now, what are the disadvantages? So the disadvantages you can see are can be misinterpreted, okay, limited for complex information, and obviously the required design skill for this type of visual information.
Can be misinterpreted, different people may understand the same visual in different ways. Limited for complex information, detailed or abstract concepts may not be fully explained through visuals alone. Requires design skills, effective visuals. Need proper design, which may not be easy for everyone.
Okay, so these are the first three. Complex information is sometimes very difficult, and obviously design skill, I think one of the main and uh, so the next three disadvantages which I can see is the time consuming. Okay, obviously it's a very not easy. May need some supporting text, okay, captions, etc. And obviously the people who are visually impaired, they will not able to uh, understand using this kind of visual information.
Time consuming, creating high quality visuals like infographics or videos takes time and effort. May need supporting text, some visuals require explanations to avoid confusion. Not accessible to all, visually impaired. Individuals may face difficulties in understanding visual content.
Okay, so now we are coming to the next topic, which is interpersonal communication. So, what do we mean by interpersonal communication? So, and what are the types of interpersonal communication? So, when we say the interpersonal communication, so it's communication uh, between the like people where we they're close people basically, because the word personal is giving an idea which is like some kind of a personal information you want to share. So, what is interpersonal communication?
Interpersonal communication refers to the exchange of information, feelings, and meaning between two or more people. Examples are conversations with friends and family, discussions in school or workplace, interviews and meetings.
Okay, so friend, family discussions and all this in school, normal meetings and interviews. So these are all interpersonal. Now, the next is what is the small group communication. Now, small group communication, sometimes we need to communicate or like discussion is held between a small group of people. So this is comes under the small group communication. Okay.
Small group communication is the exchange of information, ideas, and messages among a group of people, typically 3 to 10 members, working towards a common goal. It involves both verbal and nonverbal communication and is commonly used in teamwork and discussions.
Okay, so when a group of people, okay, doing something, so there this small group communication is required. Now, what is public communication? This is also like, especially whenever we think of public, it's we think of like public meetings. Okay, obviously it is there. So sometimes we need to tell the people, okay, a large group of people, some information. So that comes under public communication.
Public communication is the process of sharing information with a large audience through spoken or written messages. It is usually one-to-many communication, where one speaker addresses multiple listeners.
Okay, so we have come to the next topic is what is effective communication? So effective communication is also a skill. Just simply communication is not enough. We need effective communication. So what is effective communication?
Effective communication is the process of clearly conveying messages in a way that is easily understood by the receiver, ensuring proper exchange of ideas, thoughts, or information. It involves both verbal and nonverbal communication and requires active listening, clarity, and feedback.
So now there are 7 C's of effective communication. So first three are clarity, then we have the conciseness, and then correctness. Now, what do we mean by all these three? Okay.
Clarity, the message should be clear and easy to understand. Conciseness, use only necessary words to keep the message brief and to the point. Correctness, ensure the message is accurate, grammatically correct, and free from errors.
So next is completeness, courtesy, and concreteness. Okay, and coherent. Now, the next four C's which are used for the effective communications.
Completeness, provide all essential information so the receiver fully understands the message. Courtesy, be respectful, polite, and considerate in your communication. Concreteness, use specific facts, examples, and clear details to avoid confusion. Coherent, the message should be well structured, logical, and connected.
Okay, completeness, fully understand, provide all in details, sometime inform. Courtesy, okay, that's also is there. If you are not polite, respectful, or sometimes not means giving a proper emotions, a way of saying, so that is also important. Concreteness, okay, specific fact is there, vague information sometimes not very effective. And coherent, it should be well structured, there should logically, and it should be in such a way that you can understand it correctly. Now, what are the types of barriers in the uh, communications? Okay, so we have basically three basic are the physical barriers, linguistic barriers, and psychological barriers, right? So let's listen to this three types of barrier first.
Barriers in communication can prevent messages from being correctly understood. The main types include physical barriers, environmental factors like noise, distance, or poor internet connection. Linguistic barriers, differences in language, accents, or jargon that cause misunderstanding. Psychological barriers, stress, emotions, or personal biases that affect how messages are interpreted.
Okay, like physical barrier, if you want to say something, but the people are not there in the same place. So that could be one example. Okay, linguistic barrier, languages are not there. Other people doesn't understand. And psychological barrier is sometimes uh, if a person is under stress and both the sender and receiver both end, so it may be not interpreted clearly. Okay, so what are the other barriers which may happen? So the other barriers which are there are cultural barriers, okay, organization barrier, perpetual barriers, and technical barriers. These are the other four types of barriers which you may face during effective communication.
Cultural barriers, differences in customs, beliefs, or traditions that impact communication. Organizational barriers, hierarchy, unclear roles, or poor communication channels in a workplace. Perceptual barriers, differences in viewpoints, or assumptions that lead to misinterpretation. Technical barriers, issues like faulty devices, low quality audio, or lack of technical skills.
Okay, I think organizational barriers, sometimes if you're in a school, so sometimes it's not very directly you can inform your principal on this, right? So that could be one of the organizational barrier, or in a company, you're telling your boss. Cultural barriers, different cultures, custom, there is there, and technical barriers in today's world where technology is used for communication. So technical problems can also become barriers. Now, okay, so it's cultural, professional, okay, perceptual. So these are all understood. Now, how to overcome barriers in communications? So the way to overcome is different barriers. Is the first is the use of simple and clear language. Then active listening is there. Then you can be open-minded, okay? And then you can use some kind of visual aids. Okay, listen the details first.
Cultural barriers, differences in customs, beliefs, or traditions that impact communication. Organizational barriers, hierarchy, unclear roles, or poor communication channels in a workplace. Perceptual barriers, differences in viewpoints, or assumptions that lead to misinterpretation. Technical barriers, issues like faulty devices, low quality audio, or lack of technical skills.
Oh, I think previous one only spoken, so doesn't matter. I'm let it listen again.
Use simple and clear language, avoid jargon and complex words to ensure clarity. Active listening, pay full attention, ask questions, and provide feedback to confirm. Understanding. Be open-minded, respect different perspectives and cultural differences. Use visual aids, diagrams, charts, and images. Can help clarify messages.
Okay, so this I hope you have understood. Now the next are ensure proper medium, which is very important. Reduce noise and distraction, encourage feedback, and obviously use of non-verbal cues. Okay, so we have to ensure the proper medium, reduce noise and distraction, encourage feedback, and use of non-verbal cues. Let's listen the details first.
Ensure proper medium, choose the best communication method, example face-to-face, email, phone. Reduce noise and distractions, find a quiet place. For important discussions, encourage feedback, ask for clarification to ensure the message is understood. Use nonverbal cues, maintain eye contact, proper gestures, and tone for better communication.
Now there are okay, I think same which we are seeing. So feedback in communication. Now, this is a very important topic. What do we mean by feedback in a communication? So feedback is very important in communication sometime, especially when there is an important message. So what do we mean by feedback?
Feedback is the response given by the receiver to the sender's message, indicating whether the message was understood correctly. It helps in improving communication by ensuring clarity and reducing misunderstandings.
Okay. So feedback is basically is given by the receiver. So it's not only just about understanding correctly, but mostly it is about that information is sometimes received. So and the feedback further, it can also give more about the clarity. So what are the characteristics of the feedback? So the four characteristics which we can see is the two-way process, specific and clear, and it is should be timely and constructive. The details.
Two-way process, it involves both the sender and receiver. Specific and clear, feedback should be precise and related to the message. Timely, given immediately or soon after the communication for effectiveness. Constructive, should help improve communication rather than criticize negatively.
So next is relevant, verbal or non-verbal, and it should be a continuous process. Okay. So these are also the like the characteristics of a feedback.
Relevant, must focus on the main message and not unnecessary details. Verbal or nonverbal, can be given through words, gestures, facial expressions, or written responses. Continuous process, feedback helps in ongoing improvement of communication skills.
Now we are coming to what are the types of feedback. So the first two types are the positive feedback and the negative feedback. So what are this we mean by positive feedback and negative feedback?
Positive feedback encourages the sender by confirming that the message was understood correctly, example appreciation, agreement. Negative feedback highlights errors or areas for improvement in a constructive way, example correction, criticism with solutions.
Okay, so this is positive and negative feedback. So this is so basically both are helpful. We should not look things which are negative means negative in that sense, but it helps in the correction or giving more uh, like improvement in the communication. So this now the further two types are constructive, destructive, and obviously immediate feedback. So what do we mean by constructive feedback? Okay, destructive feedback and immediate feedback. Okay, so let's listen to this part first.
Constructive feedback provides helpful suggestions for improvement while maintaining a positive approach. Destructive feedback, criticism that is harsh, unhelpful, and discouraging. Immediate feedback, given instantly after the communication, example instant replies in a conversation.
Constructive feedback sometimes maybe like it's a negative. Sometimes maybe it's not giving you, asking you something to change it, but it is the approach is positive. Destructive feedback is basically criticizing a bit harsh, so it may not helpful in improvement. And immediate feedback basically is giving the feedback immediate. Okay. So sending a mail or something like you are getting. Now there are two more are there which are the formal feedback, informal feedback, and delayed feedback. Okay. So we have this three more types of the feedback.
Formal feedback, given in an official setting, such as performance reviews or structured reports. Informal feedback, casual feedback given in daily conversations, example a nod, smile, or quick comment. Delayed feedback, provided after some time, often seen in performance evaluations or surveys.
Okay, formal feedback is like your report card is an example of a formal feedback which you are getting information about your performance. Informal feedback is like a daily, like people are telling you should do well and all this. And delayed feedback, which is like often you are getting after after sometimes like you're getting some results. So these are the types of feedback. Now there are two more type, which is the specific feedback and which is the non-specific feedback. Let's understand what this two means.
Specific feedback clearly explains what was good or needs improvement. This type of feedback provides clear guidance for better learning and performance. Example: you need to do well in AI. Non-specific feedback: it is vague and does not provide clear details about what was good or what needs improvement. Example: good job, you need to do better.
Specific is very clearly like what exactly is to like need the in that communication is missing or need to be improved, and non-specific is like sometimes it's not giving clear idea, but it's just telling the entire thing we need to. So specific is obviously is a better feedback. Now we are coming again to the topic of public speaking. Okay, so it is also a very important way of communication. Okay, especially mass communication.
Public speaking is the process of delivering a speech or presentation to a live audience with the aim of informing, persuading, or entertaining them. Public speaking is used in lectures, presentations, speeches, debates, and public events.
Okay, the next three are the three P's of public speaking. So three P's are preparation, practice, and performance. So what do we mean by all these three
1.
P's?
Preparation, research, organize content, and understand your audience. 2. Practice, rehearse to improve confidence and delivery. 3. Performance, speak clearly, use body language, and engage the audience.
Okay, so here we come to end of this communication part. And once again, if you want to practice more questions and the questions which are important from CBSE point of view, so you can go and check this full course which is there in this by the smart tutors. So you can I've given in the description link. So I think after knowing all the details, you will have a very good understanding of this chapter. Okay. So here we come to the end of this topic, and obviously we will again for the next video lecture we will discussing the more topics of this uh, CBSE Class 10 AI exam syllabus. Okay. So thank you very much.